How's it going, guys, and welcome to the latest episode of Behind the Leazes podcast. Today we talk about the game against Aston Villa yesterday, the poor performance, the Danny Ings wonder goal, the useless VAR decisions. We were live over on the Tyne TV YouTube channel, and we do that every Sunday evening. So I have put a link in the description. Be sure to look out for us next Sunday. There was quite a few of you guys watching today, which was amazing. We had a handful of questions, which we tried our best to answer. So be sure to look out for us live next week. But as always, I've got the full podcast for you here to watch as well. We also do a little quiz at the end, so be sure to stick around for that. Like, subscribe, let me know what you thought, and enjoy the video.
Good afternoon, and welcome back once again to another episode of the Behind the Leazes podcast. Thanks so much for coming on. We have got Adam, Rob, and Andrew. Of course, it is the usual suspects. I see you looking up as Rob. How you doing, mate?
I'm okay, mate. I'm feeling a bit deflated today, if I'm being honest. Yesterday did not go to plan in the game or the way I hoped it would. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say I expected too much more, but it really wasn't a good game for us. And I think what makes it slightly harsher is the couple of decisions as well that I'm sure we'll talk about. So I'm all right, but yeah, a bit deflated today.
Good to know you're doing all right. Shame to hear you are feeling deflated. Of course, we are going to be talking about Newcastle's away fixture against Aston Villa. Of course, we did lose 2-0, but a couple of dodgy decisions. Andrew, we'll come to you next, mate. How's it going? How was your week?
All good, mate. Would have been better, obviously, if I won yesterday and I hadn't just lost a game of tennis to the misses either. So it's all about losing this weekend, apparently.
A game of tennis? What
yeah, man. Well, we did do best out of 3, which I won, and then it was, we'll play first to 5, and I just crumbled, mate. Just like Newcastle in the second half of football.
You know, we'll never get a full 90 minutes out of Newcastle. I think we've said this many a time on this podcast. But yes, hello everyone who is tuning in. We've got Adam, who I've come to last because, well, mate, it was a bit of a funny one for you yesterday, wasn't it? You actually travelled to Villa Park to watch the game. You got your picture on the Newcastle Twitter feed. I've got to say that's got to be a new profile picture. It looks class. You know, how are you feeling after yesterday? I know it was a long journey back, I'm sure as well. But how are you feeling after the fact?
Well, unfortunately, the Villa Park curse continues. I've been down there 4 times now. I've left disappointed all 4 times. So, yeah, I'll be honest. Yes, I said we're going to win last week, but deep down, I kind of knew it was going to be a tough match. And unfortunately, mainly in the second half or the first half towards the end as well, but we were just bad in general. It wasn't a standout player, I thought. And it's a shame because obviously 3,000 Newcastle fans went down there. First Premier League away match, just under 2 years, and that's how we play. I mean, it wasn't good enough at all. And obviously, we get on to it in just a bit. But yeah, I'm disappointed, but we've got Southampton next week. I'm going to be ready for that game. But it's football, happens sometimes, and you've got to get over it.
Of course, you talk about Southampton next week. We do also have a League Cup tie midweek to Burnley, which I'm sure will go as swimmingly as it did in Aston Villa. Andy, I'll come to you once again on this. Obviously, 2-0 defeat. We had a couple of decisions maybe not go our way. There was a penalty to Aston Villa. I didn't see the challenge myself, so I can't really say anything on that. But I saw the offside decision, which overturned our penalty, which wasn't given. You know, what did you think of the referee, the officials on that game?
Well, it was just ridiculous. I mean, the inconsistency at the minute in officiating the Premier League's been a problem for ever since they brought VAR in. I know there's been a lot of comparisons to Bruno Fernandes as well last week. But the picture, when you zoom in on Callum Wilson's boot, I know it's clutching at straws, whatever you want to call it, but it looks like he's got size 16 boots on, like proper clown feet, the way it's distorted in the image. And I thought we were meant to be given benefit of the doubt with the new VAR as well. So I think we've been really unlucky to get the penalty, and I think Aston Villa were really lucky for Martinez not to get sent off either. He's nearly taking his head clean off his shoulders. It was the most blatant red I've ever seen in my life. So in that sense, yes, we're unlucky, but still everything good enough to warrant really being able to complain about it.
It makes you wonder. I think obviously the decision to give a penalty has gone ahead, but the offside flag didn't go up. So
Yep.
shouldn't the original decision just count? There shouldn't really be a VAR check for offside, surely.
Yeah, it's this delayed offside. I mean, the amount of injuries that have happened with it happening, and I mean, Wilson was lucky he didn't get fully caught by the keeper, really. But this is why there is the argument that if it's an offside, it should be getting flagged straight away. And if the linesman, I think if the linesman doesn't flag for it, if they haven't been able to see it with the bare eye, it should just stand. Like, it was just ridiculous that when you're pulling out these lines to try and see he's like off by his little toe, it's just ridiculous.
And yeah, we're going to go to Rob next. It was, I think, a disappointing game because looking at the lineup, we were talking before the game itself, and I think I personally said it was like a top 10 lineup. I think the starting 11 at least, and then like a nice sort of little mid-table bench. Looking at the way that we're played, it looks like, you know, relegation rather than top 10, doesn't it?
I mean, I agree with you. When the lineup came out, I was, I'm not going to say confident, but in terms of the team we put out against West Ham in our first game, it was great to see Shaw back in the side. It was great to see Lascelles back. Obviously, the new signing Willock was in the team as well. The problem with our team, and I spoke about this last week, is having to rely too heavily on St. Max, on Wilson. In a game like we played yesterday against Aston Villa, unfortunately, St. Max didn't have a great game. I thought Wilson ran his socks off, but really he had a chance in the first 5 minutes that could have put us 1-0 up that he missed, and I would have bet my house on him scoring it. So, you know, not the best game for him either. And as soon as those two players aren't having a good game, there is no one else in there who's going to actually win us the game. So we're relying far too heavily on just a handful of not even a handful, a couple of players. And then Willock, unfortunately, did not have the, permanent signing debut that I wanted him to have. And I know people have said that he had a very short pre-season. We shouldn't have played him from the start. And it's very easy to look back in hindsight and say that, which, to be honest, I think probably would have been better for us to have him on as an impact sub. But, you know, if he scored in the first 15 minutes, then we would have been saying it was a great decision. So I'm not going to say it was wrong to play him from the start, but as the game progressed, it wasn't the right thing to do. I mean, the only positive I can take from that game is the fact that at least we got to see Willock in action and he got some minutes under his belt, because other than that, decisions and just general play from us was very disappointing.
You mentioned impact subs. Before the start of the podcast, we're talking about the minutes that the substitutions were made. Obviously, one made at half-time, Sean Longstaff for Isaac Hayden. I think that might have been an injury substitution. We'll talk about injuries a little bit later in the podcast as well. And then it was Joe Linton on for Federico Fernandez, I wish. It's about 80-minute mark. And then, literally in added time, Ryan Fraser comes on. When you're 2-0 down, when you're chasing goals, it seems a bit silly to make them changes so late. I know, obviously, the first one, it's a tactical change, it's an injury change, you have to do it. But the other ones, they just seem a bit pointless and just a little bit too late as well.
Well, I think this is a criticism of Steve Bruce that I think a lot of fans have had since he arrived, and it's these changes that are just too late in the game, every single game. I mean, bringing Fraser on in the 90th minute is beyond a joke, to be honest. I actually can't see what the point of him even stripping off and coming onto the pitch is at that point in the game. And as I say, you know, we had that penalty chance that got taken away from us for an eighth of Wilson's big toe being offside, which again I think is a joke. And at that point, you know, we're 2-0 down still. We should be throwing the kitchen sink at the wall, changing the formation, getting Gale on. I mean, the top and bottom of it is we don't have enough quality on the bench to bring onto the pitch. But if we're going to bring players like Fraser on, even Joe Linton or Gale, at least give them a chance. Bringing them on with a minute to go is not going to be enough. You know, in fairness, Fraser actually had a chance at the end of the game, which he fluffed over the bar. But I think we got one shot on target all game. So as much as I would definitely agree that the penalty for us should have stood, I think we were a bit unlucky with Lascelles' handball. But if you're going to stand in the box with your arm out and the ball hits it, in the days of VAR, it's going to get given. So, yeah, if we're going to have one shot on target, despite the decisions, that was still not enough shots to win a game.
No, definitely not. I think going forward, it is something that we're going to have to take a look at. Adam, I'll come to you next on this one. Like we said, you were at the game yesterday. You said that you had a lot to get off your chest. You had a lot to say. So I'm giving you the floor now to just say whatever you want. But of course, keep it clean, mate.
Of course, I will keep it clean. But in terms of the referee at the beginning off, by the way, I don't know how he sleeps tonight. I really thought he had a disaster class yesterday. He's honestly Steve 11. But in terms of Newcastle forms, I'm not going to make excuses because a lot of things did go against us. But in general, though, we just played rubbish. And I thought there were 2 points in the first half that kind of cost for the game. Yes, I love Callum Wilson. I'm not going to blame him for it, but I felt like he should have scored that chance he had out. 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. He's got to at least be put on target. And unfortunately, we didn't have much else in the first half. And the first goal, at a defensive point of view, was shocking. I don't know how Tyrone Mings is able to win a throw inside the box. Leazes, he's ran across in front of Leazes and he's just standing there. And there's 2 players in between Danny Ings and not even trying to close him down. I mean, yes, it's a good goal past Aston Villa, but I mean, just in the stroke of half time, 0-0 at Villa Park at half time would not have been a bad result, to be fair. And we just give away a goal, and just like that, we cost ourselves the game. I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. In terms of the VAR call, I mean, honestly, the Premier League at the start of the season said that we're going to make sure the offsides are not so minuscule small that you can't call it out. I mean, the goalkeeper has literally done a UFC knee on Callum Wilson. He could have killed him, like, I'm not even joking. And I mean, yeah, you could argue maybe it was offside, but it's so tight. I mean, it's got to be clear and obvious to overrule the decision, and the decision was a pen. So I felt like VAR was shocking there, but I'm not going to make excuses. We were bad in the second half, and of course, from the results in the first half, I mean, yeah, it was always going to be a loss once we conceded the first one.
So I don't think I've ever heard a description of a penalty as good as that. A UFC knee. I mean, fair play. I've not seen the penalty decision myself, so I'll take your word for it, and I'll say that he's flying need him. So, obviously, once again, you were at the game. The crowd must have been good. First away game for the fans in quite a while. What was the sort of reaction from the fans for all the decisions? And were you cheering for the full 90 minutes as well, chanting?
Yeah, I mean, the fans were chanting for the game, yeah, but in terms of decisions, I mean, it was getting heated in the way fans. But I was doing the same. I was getting annoyed with the referee. There were so many calls in that game. He was just giving free kicks for barely anything. I mean, it was ridiculous. But yeah, obviously the Leazes handball, that was a blatant penalty. The VAR called that right. Stick your arm out like that. It's in the laws of the game now. That is a pen. But the second one was just a joke. Honestly, I haven't got over it. It's a complete joke. How it wasn't a pen and he was onside. So. Yeah, the referee and VAR yesterday were useless, but that's just what it is. The Premier League is the reason why you don't see these referees and linesmen at the Euros and the World Cup. There's a reason why, because the officiating in England's terrible. But it happens to everyone. Newcastle, in terms of VAR, I've been quite lucky so far, I would say. But so far this season, 2 games in, it's definitely changed the course of the match. But it's going to happen to every team this season, so we kind of just got to go over it. But unfortunately, that's just how the game is. But listen, Burnley, Southampton, if we don't turn around those 2 matches, then I'm going to start worrying. But for now, though, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
You're going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, I know we probably don't want to talk about the Euros, but just on the topic of officiating, we saw a lot of good decisions in the Euros in terms of the way that VAR was used. Even the English referees, I thought, had done very well. But looking now and coming back to the start of the season, it feels like all that good work from the English referees and just like the lessons that could have been learned from the Euros have just gone away. Andy, I'll come to you for this one. What do you think could be taken from the previous tournaments, the Euros, to sort of change the way that VAR, refereeing, officiating could be done in the Premier League?
First of all, they need to start going to the screens more as well. It was Martin Atkinson last week. He didn't go and look at the screen for the penalty that we conceded to West Ham. If he'd looked at the screen, it would have been rolled off, and he would have seen that Fornals dived. Yesterday, I think, had the official looked at the screen again, probably would have given Wilson the benefit of the doubt. What I was worried as well, I know he obviously missed a chance that we all thought he was going to put away early on. I think the way the game was getting officiated, that game, I think, would have been written off for Wilson pushing his man to get away from him. But like I said before, it's just annoying the inconsistency in officiating in this country. I mean, Man City, Tottenham, they were diving in, giving each other 50-50s. This game, it was just so stop-start, and it's just making the game so annoying to watch.
Yeah, I think especially with certain decisions, they're taking minutes at a time, which is really annoying. We want to talk about Joe Willock as well. Of course, he made his debut yesterday. I was actually a bit surprised to see him start, just because, like Rob said, he's not had a lot of minutes in this pre-season. I think he played one game against Chelsea, actually scored in that game as well, but I think that's about it. Andy, what did you think of his performance?
Just this five back's not working, is it? And I don't. Willock's not meant to be this holding midfielder where he had Shelby. Willock's meant to be striding behind Wilson and Maximin, being there and getting in the box. That's where he was getting his goals last season, and it's annoying to think we're maybe going to have a formation that we can play with, stick with, and grow with, and it's just not working. It's why we changed it so many times last season, and I said this last week, it must be so frustrating to be in that team not knowing what setup you're going to be playing from week in, week in. Fair enough, you can do it smartly if against the right opponents, but there's no smartness to it. And to get as much as you want out of Willock, he needs to be playing in a proper number 10 role on the edge of the box and getting into the box for crosses. Otherwise, it's been having him there.
And we've had a question come in from Dean. Hello, Dean. Thanks for tuning in. He says, what can we even change to get a result versus Southampton other than the manager? So Southampton have literally just drawn 1-1 against Man United. A great result after losing, I think it was 3-1 against Everton the week before. Rob, I'll come to you on this one. What do you reckon we can change to try and get a result against Southampton?
Well, I think Adam Armstrong's definitely going to get a goal, so we need to score at least 2, which is a problem for us, seeing as we're struggling to get 1. But I would go with what Andy's just said there with the formation. It's really frustrating to come into a season with 2 games in, and already I'm worried because of the fact that this formation just isn't working. The thing I understand what he's trying to do. He wants to stay defensive, but he also wants to push people forward. So, you can look at the West Ham game as an example. Richie, our left wing back, crosses the ball in for Murphy, our right wing back, who scores a goal. So in that sense, you're thinking, well, if they can get that forward and create that impact, that's brilliant. But the problem is, Murphy is struggling defensively. And as much as I love Richie and his work ethic, I think defensively, even he's getting caught out a little bit, which is where I would have thought he would be at his strongest. So for me, I would rather go 4 at the back, have the likes of Dummett playing left back, who, yes, you won't get any attacking threat from, but then just play St. Max on the left. So you've got a defensive player and an attacking left player. Rather than trying to rely on Richie to do both, why not have one of each on the left side? Same with the right, maybe Manquillo, depending on what he's up to at the minute. I'm not sure. I've not seen him in ages. And then have Almiron on that side, maybe. And then if Steve really wants to keep it defensive, have the 4 at the back, 2 holding midfielders, Hayden and, I don't know, Longstaff. And then in front of him, have Willock and Wilson. And I think having a 4 in a bank of 2 holding midfield players is just as, if not more, defensive than having 5 at the back. So if that's what he's worried about, I think that's the way to do it. And I think attacking-wise, would have more options going forward. So that's what I would like to see. I really don't see Brucey changing his mind so early in the season because it's like he's been proved wrong too early. And I think he's too stubborn to change it. But that's what I would do.
I think we've definitely got like a top 10 attack, but a bottom 3 defence. It's a really, really weird situation to be in. Adam, I'll come to you next. What do you reckon we could change to possibly get a good result against Southampton?
Well, just like your 2 said, the formation really. I mean, I don't have a good 5 back. You kind of need full-backs that can get forward and defend. And Richie and Murphy just aren't those sort of players. They're both literally midfielders that are playing full-backs out to try and get them a different position. But I think a 4-back would be much better because, like Almon, for example, like he's a player that's good in his day, but so far the 5-back, he's even playing half the time. Like he don't seem to do anything. And I think a player, for example, like Almon, a 4-2-3-1 or something like that would get a lot more of the ball and just look better, really. Like Andy said before, you got likes of Joe Willock. You play him as a central midfielder. He's a lot better behind Wilson as a more of an attacking option. And honestly, that's what we need to do. But obviously, like I said, Steve Bruce is very stubborn. He's probably going to stick to the 5 back. But what's the point of putting 5 defenders if we're going to concede more goals than we do when putting 4 defenders? So, like, what is the point of the 5 back? It's not stopping us from conceding goals. We're conceding more. So, yeah, for me, I would change to a 4 back. But we'll see how things go. I'm hoping in the Burnley match on Wednesday that we do, give a lot more players game time, so we can try and hopefully find a player like Dwight Gale, for example, that might look half decent in the game. But otherwise, though, I mean, we're going to see how we get on next Saturday. But yeah, I'm not looking too confident this week, I will say.
No, just definitely something that, could definitely make an impact for Newcastle. We've had a comment from Douglas who says, "Hi, it's not rocket science, but it is for Bruce." PA, great show. Thanks for the comment. And I mean, you're not wrong, are you? Have you got your little notebook, Andy, that says Bruce out? Which actually says Bruce in.
Unfortunately not, yeah. But yeah, like the two lads have said, four at the back would be the way to go for me, I think. Under Rafa, we strived under, was it 4-2-3-1 we were playing. And it shows what a good manager can get you playing, you know what I mean? He had more Diarmi and Shelby playing like the prime Makelele and Desai. It was just probably taking a bit too far.
It was the partnership you never knew you needed.
But with that front 4 potential, I mean, I feel sorry for Almiron. I don't think Almiron's played in his actual position since Rafa left. He's not a central midfielder, you know what I mean? He's not a right midfielder. He is a number 10. That's what we've brought him in as. But I think if you had Shelby and Hayden sit in front of the, Christ, I can't believe I'm doing this, but just in front of the two central defenders, they can just stay there, because then you've got the likes of Maximin, Almiron, Willock and Wilson as your front 4. You're gonna cause problems. Just let them go forward, do their thing, and probably get another defensive coach, which isn't Steve Bruce. But going forward, we should be banging goals in for fun. But the way we're playing, we're not going to do that. There's no, because Richie's over 30 now. I think he's losing a leg of pace, which means as a right back you're losing that. So I 110% agree with Dummett. Because Dummett's he's solid every time he plays left back, and then Murphy, brilliant. I think he's been great going forward, but struggling coming back. So really we do need to bring in another right back, and probably about another 11 players. It's just hopeful thinking.
100 million on a new starting 11. I think we'd love that. We've had another comment coming from Dean, and it is actually about transfers. So it says, "Do you think we will bring in any new players before the deadline?" And just like you said there, Andy, a right back, it's always a position that I've said we've needed ever since, maybe Daryl Janmat left. We've not had a solid right back who could play week in, week out with a little bit of quality. And I'd say centre mid as well. We need another centre mid. When you think about Joe Willock, you think about players like Miguel Almiron. They can play in that number 10 role. Before Willock, I would have said we'd never replaced Jose Perez properly. But with Willock in now, I'd like to say that we have. We'll just have to see what happens this season. Rob, I'll come to you on this one. Do you think we will get any players in before the deadline?
I don't think we're going to sign anyone. I think it'll definitely be loan deals. And the thing that worries me is the loan deals that we're linked with are youngsters. They're kids who are basically looking to try and get some game time somewhere. And the trouble is we are in need of desperate help. And not to say that some of these kids might not come in and do a good job, and certainly will help bolster what is already quite a weak squad that I think we have. But we need some players who actually have got some experience in the Premier League and can steady the ship, as opposed to just a few lads who will hopefully just bulk up the numbers. So yeah, I think maybe 1 or 2 loans coming in, but in terms of actual quality through the door, I think we'll be lacking.
Think we'll be lacking in quality. Adam, just before we move on, what do you reckon?
I mean, again, I can't see us spending much money on players. If we do sign one now, it's just going to be a panic buy. There's no thought, and maybe like, oh, listen, deadline day, quickly go get him. Like, there's no thought anymore, because we would have signed him already if we were trying to get certain players. So I think we'll probably get 1 or 2 loan signs in, but Is it going to make much of a difference? Probably not. There are a couple of ones I think are all right. I think there's a couple of centre halves at Chelsea. I think Malang Soy, I think he'd be quite a nice loan sign, but I don't think we can, to be honest. So, in terms of players I like to see come in, I mean, anyone, just please someone come in. I mean, there's not much I can really say. It's just typical transfer business for Newcastle, pretty boring, pretty stale. But yeah, with what we got though, and even though we have played bad so far, but still how we get forward with the ball, I'm expecting us to turn it around at some point. It's just a matter of when, really. But against Southampton next week, I'm confident for that game. I think Southampton, yes, they got a good draw against Man U today, but Man U were rubbish today. I did watch the match, and Man U just weren't forward at all. So we'll see. But in terms of the signs, no, I don't see any more coming in.
No more. Not even James Rodriguez, rumoured to be joining Newcastle on a free.
But even James, I mean, obviously he's not going to come, but he's got a terrible attitude anyway. Like, he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to play for Rafinha. Imagine you come to the training room and you say, Steve, what's he going to do? He's going to go on Twitch and slack off probably. Like, he's not interested at all. He doesn't care. Like, but I like to see him come in, but he has got a terrible attitude.
The thing is, mate, you're probably not even wrong. Douglas has just put another comment, and he says he's 37, season ticket holder, but he is struggling. He hates Bruce and Ashley. I don't think you're the only person in that boat, mate. I think we're all like that. But we are going to move on just to briefly talk about Burnley and then go a little bit more in depth with the Southampton game. So I'll come to Andy first. Just quickly, a little score prediction for the League Cup game against Burnley.
Ooh, 2-1 Newcastle. Or 1-1 penalties, because it goes straight to penalties, don't know, the League Cup games.
It does, yes. Rob, I'll come to you next for your score prediction.
Yeah, I think it'll go to penalties as well. And if I've got to I would actually say Burnley will probably beat us on pens. I think that'll be very classic Newcastle to not only play a whole game out with nothing happening and then managing to lose at the very end. So I hope I'm wrong, but I'll go with that, I think.
See, you say that's classic Newcastle, but really classic Newcastle's losing in the quarterfinals to a championship team like they did last season.
Yeah,
True.
Adam, before we move on to Southampton, what's your score prediction, mate?
My head's telling me no. My heart's telling me 3-0. So 3-0 Newcastle.
3-0. See, you said this about West Ham as well. You said 3-0 Newcastle in the West Ham game. We got beat 4-2. So every time you say 3-0, I'm gonna put the other team on the win. We'll move on to the Southampton game before the little sort of surprise that we have for the viewers. So stay viewing, because you can join in with what we're doing. Andy, just a little bit about the Southampton game and then a score prediction once again.
Armstrong's going to score any. 2-2. You can tell how confident I am.
2-2. Well, I remember opening game 2015-16, it was 2-2, but then we got relegated. So, Rob, coming to you next, just a little line on the next game and then a score prediction as well.
Yeah, as I say, I would bet my hat on Adam Armstrong coming back and scoring against us at St James's Park. So that means they're going to get at least one, which means we need to get at least two to come out with a win. I'm hoping that Wilson can make up for his mistake, for his missing the Aston Villa game, and I'm hoping that Willock, with a few minutes under his belt, might help us a little bit in this game. But can we score two? I'm not sure. So I'll go 1-1.
1-1, okay. And then Adam, once again, just a little line on the next game and then a score prediction as well. Please don't say 3-0.
Well, listen, I don't blame you for obviously not predicting what a win, but Southampton is a team that always struggles in St James's Park. We've only beat, I think, once in the last 10 years or so. So, yes, I think we are going to win this game comfortably. As I said, I'm going to put me down 2-0. I don't think Armstrong will score. I think the defence will sort itself out. I think we're going to win 2-0.
2-0? Interesting. I'm going to say 1-0 Newcastle. And it's going to be, one of the games where we score about 60 minutes in, and then it's going to be heart and mouth moments for the entire game. But we will win. We're playing at home or away?
Home. Home.
Yeah, we'll definitely win. Got that crowd behind. Will you all be going to the game, or?
Yes.
I think I am going, yeah.
Potentially.
Potentially. Oh, I'm very jealous.
Me and Rob need a bit of your optimism.
I know.
It's just like...
I don't get the games very often, so I am very jealous of when I see you at the games and everything like that. I am going back to Newcastle in a couple of weeks' time, though, so we'll see. But I think it's actually Magic Weekend when I'm going. So, anyways, we are going to move on to the final sort of section of the show, and it's something that I thought of literally about 2 minutes before the show started. So, bear with me. It might be a little bit crap, but do stay on the show, and you can join in with this as well. It is a little flash round quiz, and it's going to be for squad numbers. So, everyone, you've got your mics unmuted. So, basically, I'll ask the question, and then whoever basically shouts their name first, I'll take the stage to them, and then they can say the answer. And then if they get it wrong, it'll move on to someone else. Does that sound good?
So what we got to shout out?
I think I know what I'm doing.
So let's say it's about squad numbers. So let's say how many years did Alan Shearer wear the number 9 shirt for? If Adam, you shouted Adam first, you'd get to answer the question, right? So question number 1, and these are a bit difficult. I'll just say this now, so not think a couple of goes. So, question number 1. When Seydou Doumbia joined on loan in 2016, what shirt number did he have?
Rob.
Rob, coming to you.
99?
99, incorrect.
Adam,
you next.
I think it's 35.
35, that is also incorrect. So, Andy, coming to you.
36.
36 is also incorrect. It was number... God, you've got to get these right on the quiz, because I don't know what happened to withdraw. So none of these were correct. The number was number 28. And I believe he played about 4 games, and then we never saw him again. So it is still everyone nil. We will go on to the next question. What season did Steve Harper start wearing the number 1 shirt?
Adam,
coming to you.
is it 2010?
That is correct. 2010 to 2011. Adam gets that one correct.
Bravo.
Very, very well done. So 1 point to Adam. So we've got 2 questions left. So if it's a draw, we will go to a tiebreaker question or something like that. So the next question. Who wore the number 19 shirt in the 2015-16 season?
Rob.
Rob, coming to you, mate.
Cisco?
Cisco, that is incorrect.
I had a flash of brilliance, but it obviously wasn't very brilliant.
Was it the 15 season?
2015-16. I'll take it to you, this one.
19. I don't know. Younger and Biel, what number was he had?
Younger and Biel, I think he left by that time, mate. Younger and Biel is incorrect. So, Andy, coming to you.
Ferreira?
Facundo Ferreira, no, he wore number 15. So once again, you've all got it wrong. And if Adam gets this one right, then it means that he wins. And I'll think of a better quiz for next week.
Who was the answer?
It was Masadio Haidara. Come on, guys. Haidara. I don't think he played many games in that season, but still, he wore the number 19. And then going to the final question, once again relates to the number 19. From 2008 to 2011, who wore the number 19 shirt for Newcastle United? This is a bit of a tricky one here.
I don't think I'm going to say Cisco again.
Adam,
coming to you.
Does Danny Simpson, what number was he?
No, that's incorrect.
Okay.
Rob,
coming to you.
Cisco.
Cisco is the correct answer.
Yes! No way!
Yeah, that's so true.
When you said Cisco before, I was like, oh god, he's got the other one. So
Get in.
That means it is 1-1, and we will go to a tie before we end the podcast. Andy, unfortunate for you, it is.
I'll just go now. I'll just go.
Yeah, you're out. You're gone. So let us think of a quick question. All right. I've got it.
Okay.
When Jorginho Wijnaldum first joined Newcastle United, what shirt number did he wear?
Adam, 5.
Adam, come to you. Number 5 is correct.
Oh, well
so well done to Adam. He wins this week's quiz.
Well
I know it was a bit of a lackluster one, but like I said, I'll think of a better one in a bit more advanced time for next week. But yeah, thanks so much everyone for participating, and thanks everyone for joining the podcast today. Thanks for all your questions. We do really appreciate it. Hopefully we will bring you some good news for the Southampton game, but we'll just have to see, won't we? We should be back next Sunday. It should be Sunday evening time. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.